The winter of 1931 arrived early in the northern village of Valdenheim, the kind of winter that sealed doors shut with ice and made the smoke from chimneys curl like pale ghosts. Villagers wrapped themselves in wool and furs, muttering prayers for a gentle storm season. But the old men knew the truth. This winter would not be gentle. They felt it in the way the wind growled across the rooftops and the frost clung too eagerly to the windows. At the heart of the village stood a small, warm bakery, always smelling of cinnamon and smoke. Inside lived Henrik, a widower, and his 14-year-old daughter, Elise. Henrik was a patient man, but Elise was known for something else. Some whispered she had her mother's uncanny intuition. Others whispered darker things, that she spoke to things that lived beyond the human world. Elise had always been strange. She would fall silent when the wind shifted, stare into snowdrift as though listening to them speak, and hum a tune that no one else knew, a tune that sounded like a memory of winter itself. Henrik worried for her. Elise, he would say softly, a storm is no friend to a girl. Stay close to home. But Elise would simply nod and smile, as though she knew something he did not. As the winter deepened, the bakery remained a warm haven. One morning, just after dawn, Elise saw something move in the forest, a flicker of white that was not snowfall. It was tall, slender, and luminous, like moonlight given form. Her breath caught. She'd seen it before, always at the edge of the woods, always watching her. Elise, her father called from behind the counter. The oven's ready. She blinked, pulling away from the window, but she felt those unseen eyes watching her long after. That evening, a blizzard arrived with a roar. Snow hammered the windows and frost crawled up the glass. Henrik threw another log on the fire. Elise, he said, stay near the hearth, but Elise was at the window again. The white figure stood in the center of the village road, unmoving amid the howling storm. Though she could see no face, she felt the weight of its gaze. Something cold brushed her thoughts. Come, Elise, Henrik repeated, sharper this time. She turned. Papa, do you ever feel as though winter is alive? Henrik stared at her, then gathered her into his arms. Your mother used to ask the same thing. She said winter sings to those who know how to hear it. He shook his head. I never understood her, and I fear I do not understand you either. Elise wanted to tell him everything, but something warned her to stay silent. The next morning, the storm had buried half the village. Elise stepped outside the moment her father looked away. She walked to where the figure had stood. She expected to see footprints. Instead, she found a perfect ring of undisturbed snow. No footprints led in, no footprints led out. It was as if the figure had never been there. Elise, a voice called. Greta, the butcher's wife, was trudging through the snow. Girl, are you mad? The wolves are starving this winter. Get back home. That night, the whisper returned through her dreams. She stood on a vast frozen lake. Across the ice, a figure made of frost and pale blue light stood. Its voice was a distant melody. Elise, child of frost, we have watched you since your first breath. Who are you? She asked. We are winter. We are memory. And you are ours. She woke drenched in cold sweat. The window was open, snow dusting the floor. On the sill lay a single, perfect ice crystal shaped like a teardrop. It did not melt. The winter grew harsher. Livestock died, and villagers whispered of the snow spirit, a being that chose a mortal child to carry its voice. One evening, Elise finally asked her father, Papa, what happened the winter before Mama died? Henrik froze. Your mother, she was like you. She heard things in the wind. She said the winter spoke to her. Elise's pulse thundered. And then, Henrik whispered, one night she did not return. She walked into the storm. All we found was her scarf caught in the branches of a frozen pine. He held her hands tightly. Promise me, Elise, if the winter calls to you, do not answer it. But that night, she heard a soft tapping from the forest. Tap, tap, tap. At the edge of the woods, something glowed, the snow spirit, waiting, calling, because winter remembers its own. A whisper echoed in her mind. She looked at the floor. A trail of tiny frost crystals led from her window, circled her bed, and vanished. "Come to the forest," the voice urged. "The time has begun." "No," she whispered, backing into a corner. "Leave me alone." The presence withdrew, leaving her sobbing in silence. At dawn, the bakery's windows were covered not with frost, but with intricate, spiraling runes etched in patterns no human hand could create. The villagers gathered outside, terrified. Henrik stared with wide, horrified eyes. "Elise," he whispered, "what have you brought upon us?" Standing beside him, trembling, Elise could only whisper the truth. "It's not what I brought, Papa. It's what has come for me. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more tales from the shadows." The runes stayed on the bakery windows for 3 days. No matter how my father, Henrik, scraped at them with knives, boiling water, even a heated iron, the frost-carved symbols refused to melt. When he touched them, they pulsed with a cold so deep it felt alive. By the second day, the villagers whispered that our bakery was cursed. By the third, many refused to even walk past it. I stood in the doorway, watching them avoid our home like a plague house. Their faces were filled with fear of me, fear of the spirit, fear of the winter that clung too tightly to our village. Some crossed themselves, others muttered prayers. A few glared at me with suspicion, the same look they gave wolves. "Elise," my father said on the 4th morning, his voice raspy, "come inside, please." He looked older, his beard untrimmed, his eyes shadowed with worrying. He had barely slept. It was fear of losing me the way he had lost my mother. Fear of an ancient presence whispering at the edge of the forest. I stepped into the bakery. The warmth inside did little to soothe the cold growing inside me. That afternoon, the village council summoned him. He went alone. I waited at the window, watching him disappear into the snow-choked streets. An hour passed, then another. I felt the presence long before I saw it. The air stilled. The snowflakes outside stopped falling. A thin shard of cold slid down my spine. I turned slowly. The snow spirit stood outside the window, a tall, slender form flickering like a candle flame made of ice. Where its face should have been was a smooth, featureless mask of pale blue light. Its voice entered my mind, calm and eerily tender. "You fear the villagers, but they fear you more. They sense what you are becoming." "I'm not becoming anything," I whispered. "I'm human." The spirit tilted its head. "You are your mother's daughter." A sharp ache pierced my heart. "What happened to her? Tell me the truth." The spirit raised a long, crystalline hand. She listened. She answered. She became what? I stepped back. "Come to the forest," its voice whispered as the runes on the glass brightened. "When you are ready, I will show you everything." "No. Why do you want me?" "Because winter is fading. The world is warming. The ancient balance weakens. We choose one mortal each generation to carry our voice. Your mother refused her place until it was too late. You must not refuse." "You're lying." I trembled. "We do not lie. Lies are for those who fear truth." The spirit turned, fading into drifting flakes, but its final whisper brushed my mind. "The forest awaits." My father returned at dusk, his face grim. "What did they say?" I ran to him. He leaned against the door, the weight of the world on his shoulders. "Elise," he whispered, "the council wants us to leave the village. For your safety and for theirs." I stared at him, stunned. "Leave?" They believe the spirit marked our home. They say the winter will stop only when we're gone. That's not true. I shook my head violently. He caught my shoulders. "I know, but they're frightened, and frightened people do terrible things. So, we're leaving." "Tomorrow morning," he said, his voice shaky. "I won't lose you, Elise. I won't let that thing take you." I wanted to tell him the spirit had already come for me, that I felt it inside my heart like a second pulse, but I couldn't. It would break him. That night, I dreamt of the frozen lake again. The spirit floated toward me. "They fear you because they feel your power awakening." "I don't want it," I said. You cannot choose what you are. I'm human, the ice beneath me cracked. Child of frost, the cold does not harm you. The wind does not sting. These are not human things. The ice shattered, and I plunged into the freezing depths. But instead of drowning, I felt a strange warmth, as if the winter embraced me. I woke before dawn, knowing I couldn't leave. My father was asleep at the kitchen table. I placed a blanket over his shoulders and stepped outside. No shoes, no coat. The wind calmed, and snowflakes drifted gently around me. My footprints left shimmering trails of frost as I walked toward the forest. The snow spirit was waiting. I need answers, I said, my heart pounding. Follow. It glided deeper into the woods, and I followed. My feet skimmed the surface of the deep snow, carried by some unseen force. We reached the frozen lake. You stand where your mother once stood. My breath caught. She came here? Yes, to choose. A vision formed above the ice, my mother, standing on the lake, embracing the winter. Then her face twisted in realization. She stepped back, turned, and ran into the storm. She refused. I whispered. Yes, she chose the mortal world, but the mortal world cannot hold what is born of winter. She ceased to be what she was, and so she returned to the snow. Tears filled my eyes. I don't understand. You will. Your power awakens regardless. If you flee, the winter will follow. If you remain without choosing, the storms will grow worse. The balance will break. I didn't ask for this. I cried out, Elise, you are not alone. Your mother walked this path in fear, but you may walk it with truth. Ask what you wish. Winter will answer. You will unleash storms that bury villages. You will not control it. My legs trembled. What do I do? Choose the winner. Come with us. Save your people. I thought of my father. A sob tore from my chest. I can't leave him. If you stay, he will die. When the winter inside you breaks, it will begin at the heart of your home. None will survive. No, I whispered. There has to be another way. Your time is running out. The final storm begins tomorrow. You must choose before the sun sets, or the winter inside you will choose for you. Suddenly, a voice cried out from the trees. Elise, it was my father. As he ran toward me, the spirit faded, its final word echoing in my mind. Choose. He wrapped me in his arms. Elise, tell me the truth, he whispered when we were back home. Is the spirit coming for you? Tears streamed down my face. Papa, I said, my voice breaking, I think I'm the reason the winter won't stop. He cupped. The storm arrived before sunrise. It wasn't the gentle kind that whispered through the pines, nor the usual winter squall that settled over the valley like a thick quilt. This storm came with intention, sharp, living, ancient. The sky split in a violent seam of silver. Snow churned like ocean foam. The wind roared with a voice to hollow, to a whereto belonged to any natural world. Suddenly, my father, Henrik, burst into the room. Elise, his voice cracked, we have to go now. Look outside. He grabbed my hand, pulling me toward the window. I expected snow. I did not expect this. The village was disappearing. Not buried. Erased. Houses, fences, barns, everything beyond our bakery was being swallowed by walls of swirling white so dense they looked alive. Ice climbed the sides of buildings, devouring wood and stone in seconds. The council was right. Henrik trembled. The winter is unnatural, but I wasn't listening to him. The storm was whispering to me. I couldn't hear words, only a soft, urgent calling that pulled at something deep within me. The snow spirit, it was searching for me. Elise. Henrik's grip tightened. We need to leave. I turned to him slowly. Leave where, Papa? The storm is everywhere. He looked into my eyes, fear and love warring in his face. The old tunnels beneath the mountain, we'll be safe there. I touched the frost on the window, and the rune pulsed, just like my heartbeat. Papa, I whispered. What if the storm is coming because of me? He cupped my face. No, listen to me, Elise. You are my daughter. You are good. This thing is trying to take you. I won't let it. But as he pulled me into an embrace, the cold inside me pushed outward. The bakery window shattered. A blast of icy wine surged inside, extinguishing the fire. Snow spiraled through the air, forming a tall, slender figure made of fractured light and drifting frost. The snow spirit, it stood in the middle of my room, silent and watching. Henrik shoved me behind him. Stay away from her, he yelled. A voice echoed in my mind, soft but unyielding. The storm has begun. You must choose. Henrik grabbed a metal poker from the hearth. You don't touch my daughter. The spirit tilted its faceless head. You cannot protect her from what she is. The moment my father lunged forward, frost exploded from the spirit's body. Ice crawled up the walls, the tables, everything. Henrik froze. Literally, ice coated his boots, locking them to the floor. Frost climbed his legs in jagged crystals. Papa, I screamed. I rushed toward him, but the cold inside me surged, forming a protective barrier of snow around me. My own power. No, I whispered, not him, please. I faced the spirit, my voice shaking with fury. Stop hurting him. The wind calmed. I do not wish him harm. But I must stop him from taking you from your path. I stepped between the spirit and my father. What path? Why me? Because the winter chose you before you were born. My heart pounded. My mother, she refused. Yes, and because of her refusal, the winter fractured. Its power passed to you, untamed. Today it reaches its peak. If you do not accept your place, the winter within you will break free. Everything you love will be lost. Tears stung my eyes. I don't want any of this. Henrik struggled against the ice. Elise, don't listen. Your mother, she wanted a normal life with you. The spirit's voice slid through my mind. And if she stays, the village will die. The storm will swallow the world. I closed my eyes, and I could feel it. The storm responded to my fear, my confusion. It was right. The windows exploded inward. Snow filled the room, swirling around me. The snow spirit extended its hand. Come. My breath shook. If I go, what happens to my father? He lives, and the village. If you come before sunset, the storm will end, peace will return. Henrik reached for me. Elise, don't leave me. My heart tore in two. I stood. My tears fell, freezing before they hit the floor. Papa, I'm so sorry. I touched his face, memorizing every line. He choked out, I can't lose you like I lost your mother. I pressed my forehead to his. You won't lose me, not truly. I turned to the spirit. I'm ready. Henrik screamed my name. Snow lifted me gently, carrying me into a path of glowing frost. I didn't look back. I couldn't. The storm swallowed me. At a frozen lake, the spirit stopped. This is where your mother chose, where your power begins. Tell me what to do. I trembled. It reached out. Take my hand. Will I remember my father? Everything you remember will remain. Will I ever see him again, in dreams, in memory? In the first snowfall of each year, I closed my eyes. One last tear fell. I opened them and placed my hand in the spirit's. Light erupted. Blue, white, silver, blinding. My skin dissolved into light. My fear, my pain, all of it faded. Only the cold remained, beautiful, timeless. In the bakery, Henrik felt the storm break. The ice melted. He stumbled outside. The village was safe. A single, glowing snowflake landed on his palm. It pulsed once, warm, alive. He sank to his knees, clutching it to his chest. Somewhere, a gentle voice brushed his thoughts, like a kiss of wind. I am here. And every winter after, the first snowfall always glowed with that same pale blue light. It was his daughter, watching over them, always.